Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb Morris, and I am your spirit poet. Ah, you know, looking back on some of these stories from the Bible, you see a trend. Yes, you see the closer man gets to God, and the closer man walks with God, the more intimacy that is developed between himself and God. He understands his weaknesses. Yeah? Paul said, where I'm weak, that's where his strength, comes. Uh, Isaiah cried out before the Lord. He said, woe is me, for I am undone. We stand before God immediately understanding his greatness, his holiness, his supremacy. Yeah? And we come to understand that we in ourselves are absolutely nothing. And that's where our desperation for him begins to arise. Because we come to understand that without him, we're nothing. There's no other way to put it. There's a song that says, it's your breath in my lungs, so I pour out my praise. It's a song that I sing often because now you've come to understand that even the breath you breathe is not yours. It belongs to him. And therefore, he should be getting the worship. He should be getting your life is not your own. To him you belong. So we give ourselves to him. We give ourselves away to him. We begin to understand that outside of him, there's really not much substance to speak of. It is in him that we need to live and move and have our being in order for us to operate at our most optimal point. And we see that. We see that when man submits to God, when man comes to the end of himself and submits to God, submits to his power and his will, then we begin to see a change. We begin to see a transformation, a metamorphosis, as it were, from mere man to supernatural man. Yeah? From just doing things in a mundane, normal, everyday way to doing things in a supernatural, God-inspired way. I don't know if those are the right words. Let's consider Daniel. When the king came in, he said, bring me all the men, all the young men of noble birth and upbringing. Bring them, the nice looking ones, he said. If you read it in a translation that is more modern. So he says, bring these men. So all of these men, all of these young men that were brought over from Israel into Persia were of the same ilk. They had the basic same training and so on, because that's what he required. That's what he asked for. He wanted those who were bright and who were handsome and who were articulate. Yes, and so that's what he asked for. And so Daniel and his friends were part of this set of men or young men that he had asked for. And all the other men, obviously, or apparently, were eating of the king's food. They were eating of the food that would defile them, that would defile their bodies. But Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, having known God, having known who God was, apparently they had a relationship with God. They had been brought up in the way. Yes? Not that the others hadn't been brought up in the way. We don't really know. Yeah? But for some reason, these 4 young men made a decision and acted upon the decision. Yeah, they made a determination in their hearts and they acted upon that determination. And the only reason I can see is because of the intimacy, the relationship they had had with God. And so they went in and they asked, can we not eat, from the king's table? And the eunuch says, then what are you going to eat? For sure, you're going to look emaciated and not up to standard. I don't want the king to kill me. And Daniel says, well, try us out and see, what will happen. And so the eunuch, of course, favoring Daniel, said, all right, go ahead. We could try you out and see what happens for, a couple of days. I think it was 10 days, right? And so Daniel and his friends, they're eating vegetable and drinking water. But they were eating another bread. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. See, Daniel had tapped into that truth. And so eating vegetable and drinking water, but drawing from the well of drawing from the well of the Spirit, drawing from the waters, drawing from the water that never runs dry. Daniel and his friends were being fed a different type of food. Yeah? So now, when they looked at them at the end of the time, they looked different from the other men. They looked fresher and rosier and even fatter in appearance. Their countenance, yeah, had a different glow. They carried a different vibe from the rest of them. That amazes me. Their intimacy with God produced something. Their intimacy with God produced something different in them, a different determination. That determination led to a decision that was honored by the authority. Yeah? And them standing by that determination, by that decision, exhibited something that was different from all the others. Even though it seemed that they had less than the others, but they exhibited something that was more than the others. So much so that the king grew to favor Daniel and his friends. And as if that wasn't enough, God went further to show his glory in this young man. God went further because this young man didn't just stop there. He could have stopped there, but he didn't. 3 times a day. 3 times a day he trafficked before the throne of God. 3 times a day he trafficked before the throne of God. There was sacrifice. There was sacrifice on his part. And I have a quote here by Michael Orokpo. He says, you don't become a friend of God by chance. Have we left it up to chance? You become a friend of God by sacrifice. And we see that through the Bible. And the question is for us this morning is, are we willing to sacrifice? Yes, the desire is, I want to be your friend, God. I want to know you. I want to see your face. I want so much more of you. But the question is not our desire. The question is, what are we willing to sacrifice to become that friend, to walk in that path? There's this old song that we used to sing at my church when I was very, very young. It was, nothing less than holiness, I shall be content with, nothing less, nothing short of righteousness, I shall be content with, nothing less. And I think that's what those men were. They were contented with nothing less than a deep, meaningful relationship with God. A relationship that did not just occur or was not just evident between them in private, but it was evident even in their appearance, even in the way they carried themselves, even in the way they spoke. Their relationship with God, the intimacy they had with God was apparent to those around them. But that didn't just come with desire. I can desire many things. And we spoke about this the other day. We can desire food, and there can be all sorts of food in that refrigerator and those cupboards in your kitchen. But if you don't get up and go seek out what you desire, it's never ever going to just get up and come to you. You have to seek it out. We have to seek out. We have to seek him out. And the question is, are we ready? Are we willing to contend? Are we willing to contend for the things that we say we want? Are we willing to contend for that relationship with God? Are we willing to regulate our life into that which sustains the awareness and consciousness of God until we become one with him? Are we willing to live a life that says, not my will, God, but yours and yours alone? And my prayer this morning is, teach me, O God, how to walk the ancient paths of righteousness, like Abraham and Moses, Joshua and Elijah, Daniel and Paul. These men stepped into deep realms with God, into places of intimacy that we can only begin to imagine. Yeah? These men spoke to God, had communion with God. They had saudhi with God. He spoke with them one-on-one, and they knew him, and he told them secrets. Daniel and Paul, for instance, were told, listen, I'm going to tell you this, but you don't tell anyone. This is the relationship that God wants with us. The relationship that we seek with him. What he wants with us is so much more. But it requires sacrifice. It requires sacrifice on our part. God paid the ultimate price. That was a sacrifice. Now we must respond. God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision. See things like you do. God, give us vision this morning. Give us vision, God. Show us how to walk in your way. To live the life that you want us to live. In the way you want us to live it. So that there would be no distance between us. There would be no space between us. So that our lives can be filled, so that our awareness and consciousness can be filled with you. Remove everything else. Remove the dregs and the dross and everything of this life, Father, that would keep us apart. Let me be filled with you. Let us be filled with you, with your word, with your spirit, with your way. Teach us, O God, how to walk the ancient paths of righteousness, to seek your heart with all that we are, and to find you and walk in intimacy with you. My name is Deb Morris. I am your spirit poet. May that be the cry of your heart this day and for the rest of your life. And may God in his infinite wisdom and love and absolute mercy answer your prayers. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.